Welcome to the Discourse Analyzer AI Toolkit, where articles come alive. You're listening to the audio version of our article. For the full text and an interactive experience, check out the link in the description below. Interact with any selection using our AI assistant to enhance your understanding. Let's explore.
Social realities in discourse analysis. In discourse analysis, social realities refer to the ways in which language and communication shape and construct our understanding of the world. Social realities are not just objective facts but are created and sustained through discourse. How we talk, write, and communicate about things influences how we perceive and interact with them. Discourse analysis examines how these realities are constructed, maintained, and sometimes challenged through language in social interactions. Social realities encompass a wide range of phenomena, including identities, norms, values, power relations, and shared beliefs. They are real in the sense that they affect how people think, behave, and organize their lives, but they are also fluid and can change as discourse evolves. 1. Key concepts in understanding social realities in discourse analysis. Constructivism. Constructivism is the idea that reality is socially constructed through language and communication. According to this view, our understanding of the world is not simply a reflection of objective reality but is shaped by the ways in which we talk about and interpret our experiences. Example: gender is often cited as a social reality constructed through discourse. The concepts of masculinity and femininity are not just biological facts but are shaped by cultural narratives, media representations, and everyday conversations that define what it means to be male or female in a given society. Discursive practices. Discursive practices are the specific ways in which language is used to construct social realities. These practices include the repetition of certain terms, the framing of issues, the use of metaphors, and the establishment of norms through language. Example: in workplaces, the repeated use of terms like team player or leadership potential constructs a reality where collaboration and assertiveness are valued traits. These discursive practices influence how employees perceive their roles and what behaviors are encouraged or discouraged. Power and ideology. Power relations and ideologies are central to the construction of social realities. Those who have control over dominant discourses, such as media outlets, political leaders, or educational institutions, can shape social realities in ways that reflect and reinforce their own interests and beliefs. Example: the portrayal of poverty in media and political discourse often constructs a social reality where poverty is seen as a result of individual failure rather than systemic issues. This framing supports ideologies that emphasize personal responsibility while downplaying the role of economic inequality or social policies. Point 2. Examples of social realities in discourse analysis. Example 1. National identity. National identity is a social reality constructed and sustained through various forms of discourse, including political speeches, media, education, and cultural narratives. The way a nation is talked about shapes how its citizens see themselves and how they relate to others. Example: in the United States, the discourse of American exceptionalism constructs a social reality where the U.S. is seen as unique, with a special mission to promote democracy and freedom worldwide. This narrative is reinforced through political rhetoric, history textbooks, and media, shaping how Americans view their role in the world and how they interpret global events. Example 2. Gender roles. Gender roles are socially constructed realities that dictate appropriate behavior, expectations, and opportunities for individuals based on their perceived gender. These roles are maintained and reproduced through everyday discourse, media representation, and institutional practices. Example: the phrase, "boys will be boys," is often used to excuse aggressive or rowdy behavior in young males, constructing a social reality where such behavior is normalized and expected. This discourse reinforces traditional gender roles that associate masculinity with toughness and emotional restraint, influencing how boys are socialized and how society views male behavior. Example 3. Mental health. The social reality of mental health is shaped by how mental illnesses are talked about in medical, media, and everyday discourses. These discourses influence public perceptions, policy decisions, and the experiences of those living with mental health conditions. Example: The shift in discourse from referring to people as mentally ill to using terms like people with mental health challenges reflects a changing social reality where individuals are not defined by their conditions. This change in language can reduce stigma, promote empathy, and encourage a more holistic understanding of mental health. Example 4. Climate change. Climate change as a social reality is constructed through scientific discourse, political debates, media coverage, and public discussions. The framing of climate change can significantly influence how society perceives the issue and what actions are taken. Example: when climate change is framed as a climate crisis or global emergency, it creates a social reality where urgent action is necessary, mobilizing public support for environmental policies. In contrast, framing it as climate variability or natural fluctuations can lead to a social reality where the issue is seen as less pressing, reducing the perceived need for immediate action. Point 3. Importance of social realities in discourse analysis. Understanding social constructs. Analyzing social realities in discourse helps to reveal how societal norms, values, and beliefs are constructed, maintained, and challenged through language. This understanding is crucial for recognizing that what we often take as natural or given is, in fact, shaped by discourse. Uncovering power dynamics. Social realities often reflect underlying power dynamics. By examining how certain realities are constructed through discourse analysts can uncover how power is exercised and maintained in society, and how marginalized voices are silenced or excluded. Promoting social change. Understanding that social realities are constructed through discourse opens up possibilities for change. If social realities are not fixed but are shaped by language, then changing the discourse can lead to new social realities. This is why discourse plays a critical role in social movements, where activists work to shift public discourse to promote new understandings and norms. Conclusion. Social realities in discourse analysis refer to the constructed and often contested ways in which we understand the world through language. These realities are not just passively described but are actively shaped by discursive practices, power relations, and ideologies. By analyzing how social realities are constructed in different contexts, such as national identity, gender roles, mental health, and climate change, discourse analysts can uncover the ways in which language influences our perceptions, behaviors, and social structures. Recognizing the constructed nature of social realities allows for a deeper understanding of how society functions and opens up opportunities for transformative change through discourse. Frequently asked questions. What are social realities in discourse analysis? Social realities in discourse analysis refer to the ways in which language and communication shape and construct our understanding of the world. They are the perceptions, norms, values, identities, and power relations that are created, maintained, and sometimes challenged through discourse. Social realities are not simply objective facts but are produced through the ways we talk about and interpret our experiences. How does constructivism relate to social realities? Constructivism is the idea that reality is socially constructed through language and communication. In discourse analysis, this means that our understanding of the world is shaped by the ways we discuss and interpret events and experiences, rather than being a direct reflection of an objective reality. Social realities, such as gender roles or national identity, are constructed through repeated discourse practices that reinforce specific views and interpretations. What are discursive practices, and how do they create social realities? Discursive practices are the specific ways in which language is used to construct social realities. These practices include the repetition of certain terms, framing issues in particular ways, using metaphors, and establishing norms through language. For example, using terms like team player or leadership potential in the workplace constructs a reality where collaboration and assertiveness are valued traits, influencing how employees view their roles and behaviors. How do power and ideology influence social realities in discourse? Power relations and ideologies play a central role in shaping social realities through discourse. Those who control dominant discourses, such as media, political leaders, or educational institutions, can influence how issues are perceived and understood, often in ways that reflect and reinforce their interests and beliefs. For example, framing poverty as a result of individual failure rather than systemic issues supports ideologies that emphasize personal responsibility while downplaying economic inequality. Can you provide an example of how national identity is constructed as a social reality? National identity is constructed through various forms of discourse, including political speeches, media, education, and cultural narratives. For example, the discourse of American exceptionalism in the United States creates a social reality where the U.S. is viewed as unique, with a special mission to promote democracy and freedom worldwide. This narrative is reinforced through rhetoric, textbooks, and media, shaping how Americans perceive their role in global affairs and how they interpret international events. How are gender roles constructed and maintained through discourse? Gender roles are socially constructed realities that dictate appropriate behavior and expectations based on perceived gender. These roles are maintained through everyday discourse, media representation, and institutional practices. For example, the phrase, "boys will be boys," normalizes aggressive or rowdy behavior in males, reinforcing traditional gender roles that associate masculinity with toughness and emotional restraint. This discourse influences how boys are socialized and how society views male behavior. What role does discourse play in shaping the social reality of mental health? The social reality of mental health is shaped by how mental health conditions are discussed in medical, media, and everyday discourses. For example, shifting the language from mentally ill to people with mental health challenges reflects a changing social reality where individuals are not solely defined by their conditions. This change in discourse can reduce stigma, promote empathy, and encourage a more nuanced understanding of mental health, influencing public perception and policy. How does framing affect the social reality of climate change? Framing plays a crucial role in shaping the social reality of climate change. For instance, framing climate change as a climate crisis or global emergency creates a social reality where urgent action is necessary, mobilizing public support for environmental policies. In contrast, framing it as climate variability or natural fluctuations can downplay the issue's severity, reducing the perceived need for immediate action. The chosen frame influences how society understands and responds to climate change. Why is it important to analyze social realities in discourse? Analyzing social realities in discourse is important because it reveals how societal norms, values, and beliefs are constructed, maintained, and challenged through language. Understanding that social realities are not fixed but are shaped by discourse helps to recognize that what we often take as natural or given is actually socially constructed. This understanding is crucial for uncovering power dynamics and promoting social change by challenging and transforming dominant discourses. How can understanding social realities in discourse promote social change? Understanding social realities as constructed through discourse opens up possibilities for change. If social realities are shaped by language, then changing the discourse can lead to new understandings and norms. Activists and social movements often work to shift public discourse to promote new social realities, such as more inclusive language around gender or reframing environmental issues as urgent crises. This discursive change can alter public perceptions and behaviors, leading to broader societal transformations. What is the significance of analyzing power dynamics in social realities? Analyzing power dynamics in social realities is significant because it helps to uncover how certain groups or ideologies maintain dominance through discourse. By controlling the narratives and framing issues in specific ways, powerful groups can shape social realities that serve their interests. Discourse analysis can reveal these underlying power structures, showing how marginalized voices are silenced or excluded and how alternative discourses can challenge the status quo. Can you give an example of how social realities are contested through discourse? Social realities are often contested through discourse when different groups present competing narratives. For example, in debates about income inequality, one discourse might frame it as a result of market forces and personal effort, emphasizing meritocracy. In contrast, an alternative discourse might frame it as a systemic issue rooted in structural inequality and advocate for policies that address these disparities. The contestation between these discourses reflects differing social realities and has significant implications for policy and public opinion. How do discursive practices contribute to the stability or change of social realities? Discursive practices contribute to the stability of social realities by reinforcing certain norms, values, and beliefs through repeated language use. For example, The consistent portrayal of success as tied to wealth in media and advertising reinforces a capitalist social reality. Conversely, discursive practices can also lead to change when new language, metaphors, or frames are introduced that challenge existing norms. For example, the shift in discourse around mental health from stigma to acceptance reflects changing social realities influenced by new discursive practices. How does discourse shape shared beliefs and values in a community? Discourse shapes shared beliefs and values in a community by providing the language and narratives through which these concepts are expressed and understood. For instance, educational discourse often transmits the values and beliefs of a society, teaching children what is considered important, moral, or acceptable. Media discourse also plays a key role in shaping public beliefs and values by framing issues in ways that resonate with or challenge the community's existing norms. What is the relationship between discourse and social structures in constructing social realities? The relationship between discourse and social structures in constructing social realities is reciprocal. Social structures, such as institutions, laws, and norms, influence the types of discourse that are possible or acceptable in a given context. In turn, discourse shapes these social structures by reinforcing or challenging the underlying values, beliefs, and power relations. For example, legal discourse not only reflects the existing laws and norms but also helps to legitimize or contest them, thereby influencing the broader social reality.